Welcome to the Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Mr. Amish, Sensual Goat, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, the name's Burley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, J Mels 24, Unimento, M, Iron 26, Endless, Golden McKiernan, Retro Bill, Level Plain Poem, Cannabear, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Script to write.
Visual.
Bushel,
No.
Bushel, don't let him mind warp you. The fact of the matter is, he's already accepted that water is the spirits are the use of determining horizontal or level. He's already just listen to me for a minute.
We've done tests and all sorts of stuff.
Just listen to me for a minute before you mumble on. You've already accepted that Hale datum provides the horizontal and vertical datum points for the UK, and all levels are measured from that horizontal.
On the vertical datum,
but you want to say that oceans, i.e. the mean sea level of Cork and New York, which share the same body of water, aren't level or flat. You're just going on with your stupid nonsense, and I don't even know why you're here or why you're on any. Yeah, it is nonsense, and you know it.
Yeah. Well, sorry if it's a bit hard for you to take, but I mean, I'll tell you, I've measured it, not flat. I know it may go against the narrative that you guys have to go with, right? But there's no hard feelings, right? Can you imagine what sort of an extreme thing you'd have to go to have to prove that level was horizontal?
Well,
hilarious, right? I mean, but you guys have obviously done it anyway, haven't you, right?
What is hilarious is you, because you're so delusional, and every single person here is laughing with you. I mean, you're just a joke, seriously. You have nothing intellectual to add. Other than
not me. Not me. I don't agree. I don't agree with you. Sorry, not everyone. Come on, don't talk for everyone.
What's the cause? I want to know. I want to know. What is the cause?
Apart from you, he has nothing intellectual to add.
Apart from the proof that level is horizontal, right?
No.
It's small matter. Don't worry about it, though.
Level is horizontal is flat. All the same, which you, for some reason, can't agree with.
There's no need to, there's no need to add in flat. Have you ever seen a water level? I mean, flat would be one of the last things you could say about it.
So what did you do to verify or validate this hydrostatic equilibrium you're talking about?
We have a little test called the Realizing Euclid test. Did it a few years ago. But there's many different ways, right? But it all comes down to what sort of a thing do you accept as a proof?
No, man, no, it doesn't come down to what I accept you. You want to claim hydrostatic equilibrium, then vary and manipulate it. Shock some static electricity into the water and make it a sphere, or whatever you have to do to make that water turn level. Like talking about, you have water
I
that's
mean,
got
just
waves in it, and you do
an
something
adjustment
to
of elevation of one end would cause an adjustment of elevation at the other end also, because
so
of
what's
the
what's
equalizing of
electrostatic?
the.
What is electrostatic about it?
What's that got to do with it?
Well, that's what you said it was. You
No.
said the water is not seeking its level; it's just electrostatic disequilibrium or whatever.
Hydrostatic. Hydro being water, static being of no movement. Hydrostatic equilibrium. All parts within the contained body having
Okay, so it's
equal.
just word salad for sea level. Okay,
don't worry. Some sort of nonsense.
All right, you guys can have him, dude. I'm done.
Well, good morning.
Good morning, Nathan. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, team.
Morning, team.
What the hell is Bev talking about now?
Who even cares, man? I personally don't. That's why I don't want to talk. Let these guys. Does anybody else want to listen to what Bev and Elderbear have to say?
No, they just wasted like 45 minutes of my life. Seriously.
Yep, I know, man.
I'm wondering why
That's
they
what I'm
come so
wondering.
early in the morning when nobody's here.
They want to listen and learn, Neil. But sometimes they always, for some reason, they always end up talking shit. But they're here to learn.
I heard something about a sphere. What is he, a ball top now?
I don't even care, man.
To be honest,
What's
I
the
came in
plan
at
for
the
today?
end. I came in at the end, so I don't even know what they were talking about.
Yeah, who even
I
cares,
just heard
bro?
that annoying voice.
What's on agenda for today, Nathan? Got a video to cover or? Oh, man.
We must count at the same time. I'm going to count first. 1, 2, 3. I go. Fallacious modus ponens. Fallacious modus ponens. The outcome is fallacious. Oh, shut up.
I just want to add one thing before I depart, and that is that Bev said that the US mean sea level was determined from the Great Lakes. So I'll just leave that there.
Thanks, Jardo.
What did he say?
That the mean sea level in the US was determined from the Great Lakes.
Well, then why is it called mean sea level? If it's determined by lakes.
Not sure if it was recorded, but that's what he said.
And is that mean sea level at that lake flat or curving?
Did you check that information, or is that refutation?
I found a source here that says Great Lakes water levels are measured from an elevation reference point referred to as the International Great Lakes Datum. Nothing about the ocean, or it's like their own sea level, their own water level. Sorry, not water level. I mean water at electrostatic equilibrium.
No, we were having a conversation about mean sea level, and I said the mean sea level from Cork to New York was the same mean sea level because they shared the same body of water. And he went on to say that the mean sea level from the US was determined from the Great Lakes.
No, that can't be. I didn't hear him say that. If he wants to say it again and show us some...
Can somebody look it up?
I'm looking, but I don't see nothing about that.
Specifically America.
He just did. He said that the Great Lakes are their own sea level.
Yeah.
It's level
They're
anyway.
measured from an elevation reference point.
That was his
Not curved
interpretation
anyway.
of it. It wasn't what it said. He interpreted it to mean that.
No, I read it verbatim. Let me read it verbatim again.
It'll be all level anyway. At the end of the day.
Was that Elder Bev?
Yeah, level's not a flat plane because there's different levels. Is still their argument. It's.
I mean, none of it's going to be curved. Large bodies of water or ocean won't be curved.
It's like dogs don't exist because chihuahuas. It's absurd.
Do you have a citation for mean level anywhere?
I think he just read one for the lakes. That's what was being discussed.
Yes, I have one. The United States and its territories' local mean sea level is determined by taking hourly measurements of sea levels over a period of 19 years at various locations and then averaging all of the measurements. The 19 period is called the Metonic cycle. That is from National Geographic Society, and it has nothing to do with the Great Lakes.
I don't hear no lakes in that citation.
You said local, and you didn't say, a mean for the whole mean for everywhere. It was just in reference to the USA there.
It said average.
So this flat plane over here and this other flat plane over here aren't flat planes because they're at different elevations. Is that what we're supposed to get from this? Like, what is the point? It is the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, and it's sea level, not sea and lake level.
Yeah, the level of the sea. The level of the sea, the rise and the fall of the sea. Yeah, you're right.
Right, and is the Great Lakes a sea?
I don't know. I never mentioned the lakes myself.
Yeah, but you're talking
rise
about
and fall of sea level. Okay.
Yeah, the rise and fall of this flat expanse, averaged.
No, the rise and fall on the vertical datum, nothing to do with horizontal.
What, sea level's got nothing to do with horizontal? Vertical datum? What, vertical with respect to a perpendicular horizontal has got nothing to do with horizontal. They're intrinsically linked.
That's very measured on the vertical, nothing to do with the horizontal.
Well,
so on a vertical datum.
So that all of these different flat planes, measured and then averaged, are flat planes on a vertical datum, is what you're saying. Yeah, that's what you do with the data that you measure. But what are you measuring? The height of a vast expanse of ocean. all taken to be flat at a given level, given height, and then averaging those heights of all those different flat levels. John just went through it like 2 minutes ago. And how crap an argument it is to then suggest that all of these flat planes expanding out in thousands of miles directionally aren't flat. It's absurd.
Flat with the bits that are not flat taken off. That's what you mean, really.
So when they take the average and they get the height, the sea levels that they're going to be averaging, yeah, that height is one number with respect to a horizontal expanse that is all flat. It is all taken to be perfectly flat. Otherwise, you'd have more than one number, wouldn't you? Yeah, you would. So we're dealing with a flat expanse, and the number of that flat expanse is on the vertical. Yeah, the flat. Say again, really, really close up to my mic. The flat expanse is given one number. That one number represents thousands and thousands of miles of flat expanse. It's flat. Can't be anything else if it's one number on a vertical datum. And we're talking about the sea. It's all flat, lads. Did you hear that word?
You never measured it.
Did you hear the word?
Anything.
It's all flat. No, I was taking your example. Your example you gave me on the vertical datum. And you're going to tell me I've not measured your example that you verbalised? That seems like a bit of a burden of proof reversal fallacy when I'm responding to your claims of your measurements that you refer to on the vertical datum. Those are yours, not mine. Why would you suggest that I should measure something I'm responding to that you've claimed? This seems very pathetic, like something a loser would do when they've lost. Suggest that the person who's pummeled their claim of non-flatness should go out and measure something based on what they have suggested is being measured to show how not flat it is, with one number on a vertical, one number representative of an entirely flat surface that's going to be averaged against a load of other completely flat surfaces. Flat. That's how Earth's being measured and averaged in this instance. Every single number on that vertical datum represents a flat expanse. Otherwise, it'd have more than one number. Second time's a charm. See if you can respond to what I've actually said. No, just the personal attack.
You're okay?
Just the personal attack.
Okay. I'm just checking you're okay.
Anything beyond the personal attack? No, I'll just claim my victory. I'll just claim my victory then.
I said
there was a prolonged pause, and I was talking through my victory. I'll just take that
silence
victory.
Silence is a victory, is it? Silence?
Yes. Victory. One number on a vertical datum represents a flat expanse that can only be perfectly flat, or it wouldn't have a single number. I win. Earth measured flat by your measurement example, Elder Bev.
I never measured.
Yes, I win with your measurement. That is correct. I have won. We do. You do. They do. We all measure Earth flat. There are no exceptions. When you idiots, not us, try to explain how we don't measure Earth flat, because we take measurements on the vertical, what of massive, completely flat expanses that will average, those are flat and perfectly flat because they've only got one number. Fourth time. Yeah, I've won. This is my winning point. That's right. Anything beyond the personal attack and yammering through that little victory dance that I'll be doing regardless of what you do. No!
Did you hear that silence?
No, I'll just summarise when there's a little pause and you don't come back with an instant response that shoves it down my throat how I've lost. Because I haven't lost, Elder Bev. You're just a little cheerleader, a bitter old man cheerleading for some pathetic idiot called Bev who's often wrong. Late level for sea level. The guy's an idiot, but you still cheerlead for him. That makes you even more pathetic than him. Me, on the other hand, I like to spend my time winning. Not flat, you say. What, because of a vertical datum? What, with the single number representative of a massive flat expanse in all directions that will average? must be perfectly flat or it wouldn't have one number on a vertical datum. Yeah, that'll be my 5th rendition of my winning point that no amount of rumpusing will ever overcome. Ever. I win. I'll be winning all year and stamping my name on that win when you and any globe-believing numpty who comes here measures Earth flat like you do. One number on a vertical datum, representative of the sea, is all perfectly flat. Can't not be, or it'd have more than one number 6 times. My win.
Nathan, we don't have to do anything. They do it all for us.
Yeah, they measure flat too. We all do. Earth's measured flat. Just like Elder Bear's example, where he measured things and then decided to attack whether or not I'd done it. Pathetic loser talk. After you lose.
What did I measure? What did I say?
It's your measurement. I took your measurement and shoved it down your throat with how flat it must be for that single number on the vertical datum. 7 times. I'll just keep winning. I don't mind dancing on your grave as I win. Victory is mine. Yeah. Vertical datum has a single number on it to represent an entirely flat expanse. It must be flat or it wouldn't be a single number. 8 times. I'll just keep doing it all day. While you what? Think you're going to win by rumpusing and talking through me while I illustrate my winning point for the 9th time? No, Elder Bev. Not at all. No. I'll just keep reiterating how we will be measuring Earth as a perfectly flat expanse when we get these numbers on the vertical datum, because there can't be anything else if they've only got one number attached to them and they're representative of the sea, then the entire expanse is flat. Can't be anything else.
Hey, Nathan.
Yes?
Nathan.
Nice little pre-show warm-up.
Ask Elder Bear in his well-regarded Newland Observatory, what is the Observatory 0?
It's a flat reference to a baseline. Represents the expanse that you can see out towards the horizon. The 0 line. Yeah, requires a flat Earth.
Can you guys not ask Elder Bear anything anymore, please? Can we move on with conversation, guys? If he continues to interrupt, he's going to be disconnected. Elder Bear, I hope you heard that.
He only wants to wait till there's a long, protracted silence, and then I start talking, to then start talking through the top of me, to try and frustrate me in his loss. That was what that little attempt was. Yeah? I'll annoy him through his victory, because he's lost. That's all he's got.
Yeah, I know I'm subservient to my emotion, like, your people.
That's a personal attack. 2nd attempt. So 2 protracted silences and 2 personal attacks is what we've had to my 9 renditions of the same point he can't refute. No, single point of datum that's vertical would require that represented an entirely flat, I'll say it again, with the intonation on the word flat, expanse that's going to be averaged against other flat expanses. That's a win 10 times over. Your 2 personal attacks and 2 prolonged silences and continual rumpusing through my wins. You think that's a win? And that's because you're a sad, bitter old... You're a bitter old man. You can't take someone else winning. Yeah? Like a belligerent child that never grew up. When you lose, you rant and have a little temper tantrum through the top of the person winning. You snatch their medal from them. You smash the victory trophy. That's what belligerent children who lose do. You never grew out of it, Elder Bev. Ever. It's sad.
Well, I'm just trying to follow your, thing.
Oh, are you going to throw this back at me? No, Elder Bev, you're not going to reverse this pathetic loss that you've suffered here. Flat is the argument.
Sorry, Nathan.
That's another 4th personal attack. Yeah. Meanwhile, flat is the expanse with respect to the vertical, because that's how it's measured in its entirety, to have one number. That's 11 renditions. He has got nothing but 4 personal attacks, 2 protracted silences, and non-stop interruption and rumpusing through the winning point. That's what Elder Bev's got.
I just mentioned the vertical datum. No other measurement. I didn't mention the measurement. Just said it was a point on the vertical datum. That's all I've said.
Yeah, sea.
So I said something about
sea
measurement.
Level.
I never did.
For sea level, measurement of sea level, right?
Yeah, the vertical rise.
Yeah, but that'll be a sea that's expanded out not vertically, horizontally in all directions, and to ascribe it a single number, it must be considered perfectly flat. That's the 12th time I've rebutted it.
No.
Yeah, that's right. It's where I win. Yeah, now I'm having a little dance on you as you try and flip it around like I've lost. No, I haven't. I won by proving Earth measured flat with your example. Your little temper tantrum that you're having through the top of me every single time I reiterate that isn't making its way to the audience, by the way. Yeah, your line remains closed as I illustrate my winning point. You're nothing more than a dancing light on a sound desk as you attempt to rumpus me. That's all you are.
The rise and fall of the water level is a vertical measurement. That's all I said.
The rise and fall of sea level, the level that must be ascribed to a single number.
Of the water.
The water's not vertical, my friend. Water expands out horizontally. Do you not understand how water works? That's what we're actually measuring. The level of the water with a single ascribable number. That would be a flat expanse to ascribe it a single number. Not multiple numbers to account for the waves. No, it would be flat, perfectly flat, to give it one number. 13 times.
As I said, I only mentioned a vertical datum.
And I mentioned now, on that vertical datum, you're talking about a horizontal of water called sea level. And that's what you're actually measuring on that vertical. And that must be flat to give it a single number. That's 14 times that he's going to respond with what he isn't doing. Now, what you are doing is measuring Earth flat. That's 15 times I've told you, Medabear.
I never said anything about measuring it flat.
I did. I said that the sea level's flat. It must be to ascribe it a single number. I said it 16 times. All you've done is chant through it and offer up personal attacks and protracted silences. Because you lost.
You said I said that, and I didn't say that.
I said you said you've got a vertical datum. I said in response that you'll need a flat expanse to give it a single number. I said it 17 times, you know.
A relationship on the vertical, yeah.
Yeah, for the horizontal expanse that must be flat to ascribe it a single number 18 times. I win, Edabear. What you're looking for now is the neutral outcome, where the circular notion of this argument perpetually being argued without the victory being declared because of a lack of concession. Yeah? That's what your little tactic is trying to fulfill here. No, that's all right. I'll just take the victory dance. I'm not going to repeat it a 20th time. No, for us to have a single number on a vertical datum for sea level, then that level must be flat in all directions to give it a single number. Earth is being measured flat by this example. Earth is flat. That's precisely how it's being measured in this example.
Certainly not. And if you claim some victory based on things I never said, that's a bit of an empty victory.
That's not really a response to the 19 responded times to your claim of a measurement on the vertical datum. That's the same interruption that's been met with me just looking at a line dancing up and down as he talks through the 19th rendition. Yeah? Earth's being measured flat. Can't be anything else to give it a single number on that datum.
The noise gate kind of cut out. Is that what you're talking about?
What I'm saying is when I'm talking and you start talking straight through the middle of the 20th rendition of it being ascribed a single number on a vertical datum, were you to talk through the middle of that as you've done in the last 19 attempts and have just done now, the gate will stay closed for you because I'm in the middle of talking, meaning that my audience actually gets to hear me unimpeded and my guest's attempts to rumpus the truth from coming through without response, repeated, at nausea, without rebuttal, protracted silences and ad homs being the only thing that you give back, they will hear all 20 renditions of that which you cannot respond to.
It was actually 12, but I never said anything about measurements. I just said about the vertical datum, the mean sea level being referenced on a vertical datum. That's all I ever said. You seem to have gone off on some journey that I said it was measured flat. I never said that.
No, I said that.
Yeah, I know. But you claim victory that I said it. Well, I didn't say
it. I took your datum and referenced it back to how we'd actually measure and there's the interruption. Of course, I have to manually close the gate if you do that. Maybe you figured out your way like some of them do, how to work their way through the gate. Very slick. Meanwhile, I took your example and turned it into a flat Earth measurement. That's right. That's what I said. I say Earth is measured flat with your example. I'm right because to give it a single number on the vertical datum, it must be an entirely flat plane. 20.
He's too stupid to get it.
Does he ever think about applying his own logic that he uses against level being horizontal? You could do the same thing with plumb and vertical, and you wouldn't have a vertical datum if you'd done the same thing. he's attacking the conceptual idea of the measurement. And I don't understand why he's doing it, because if you apply his logic, he doesn't even have a vertical datum at that point. Because there's micro-inflation
because
all material.
Stop a second, John. Your responses are painful. He won't have anything to respond to them with, so it's better that the audience don't hear them. So what he's doing is he's chanting through the top of you when you make your conclusion. The word "because" isn't a lead for him to talk, but he did anyway. Because this is painful. He's got no response to it. He must stop it reaching the audience's ears. That's why he's talking through.
The thing is that...
And now he's decided he's going to pick up the reins with "this thing is..." No, he's still in the same sentence. So I'll just close that line. Go ahead, John.
Well, the thing is, the argument they're applying to saying that level is just a point, you can do that with vertical as well, and then you don't have a vertical datum for these measurements. It's nonsensical. Your argument is self-defeating to the other claims that you make. I don't understand why you're saying it. It's absurd.
Got to do something. We're winning.
Just a quickie, Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't a vertical datum used to measure land elevations and water depths?
This isn't my focus. I don't know. Surely it is. I can only assume the answer.
You don't know anything. We know you don't know. Jeez.
I've got to launch into what? I've declared that I don't know something, and therefore it's Nathan stupid. Yeah, that's what this guy's got. He lost 20 times, but sees an opener to attack me personally. Do it again, Elder Bev, without an example that's been held in debate, and I'll just remove you from the server today, and you can come back tomorrow, because you obviously can't tolerate actually listening to people's discussion. You're just looking for your opening to attack me personally. It's really glaringly obvious.
I never spoke over John. You're just misrepresenting that I was.
You just started telling the audience how stupid I was because I declared my own ignorance in regards to a subject I've not studied. That would be honesty. Well, I don't know about this subject particularly well. I'm sure the answer to your question is yes by pure logic, but I've not studied this. But Nathan's stupid, he doesn't know anything. No, Elder Bev's a bitter old man and only here to poison the well. Bitter old man. Now, those are demonstrable facts. You are a bitter old man. That's easily identified by any audience member. Me self-confessing ignorance to a subject I've not studied is no worse or better than anybody else who hasn't studied a particular subject that's being discussed. Meanwhile, my 20 renditions and win weren't addressed by you. Elder Bev doesn't know anything about how flat it must be to reference C against a vertical datum. He's just stupid. Doesn't understand that it's intrinsic and that the C isn't moving vertically, it's an expanse horizontally that must be ascribed as perfectly flat to give it a single number. I mean, I'll give him 21 renditions. Now, did I launch into how stupid this bitter old man was at the end of that? No! But he sees one little opening for self-declared ignorance on my part and launches into a personal attack about how stupid I am. I don't know anything. So what, because I've declared ignorance in this regard, I don't know anything? No, that's the ramblings of a bitter old man. That would be you, bitter old man, who lost 21 times to me. Now you need to see if you can get your revenge for that loss by attacking me personally and saying I don't know anything based on self-declared ignorance. No, I'm afraid not. I know plenty of things, like how horizontal a single number on a vertical datum with respect to C will be. I know that. You didn't know that. You're a bitter old stupid man, aren't you, stupid old man? Now stop attacking me personally. We're having a discussion that doesn't involve you looking for an angle to attack me personally on. Now, can you refrain from doing that, or I have to remove you?
Aren't you attacking me personally?
You've behaved like a bitter old man. Self-declared ignorance in a single subject isn't me not knowing anything, which is what you said. You are demonstrably a bitter old man who wants to attack me personally. That's been demonstrated here today.
I referenced the mean sea level being a point on a vertical datum, and listen to what's happened since then. What you've done and what you've said, how you've misrepresented me, and you made personal attacks against me. Just off of that, amazing. Just one thing I said.
That's not a complete statement. That's not a complete statement to say a vertical datum. A singular vertical datum, that is not a complete statement. You know that, right?
No, he didn't listen. He chanted through you, so I had to close the gate so you could get the sentence out without a continual stream of interruptions from a bitter old man who's only here to interrupt people. Not here to listen in the slightest. So did he hear you? No, he was talking through the entire statement you just made. He couldn't repeat it back even if you offered him $200.
Well, you know,
I said he couldn't repeat it back if you offered him $200. Let's see if he does, because he chanted through every single word you just said.
You haven't got £200.
Discord server. Discord
please.
server. Can you mute him so we can confirm with everybody that nobody heard what John just said? Because Elder Bear, the bitter old man causing chaos, decided to chant through every single word of it. Can you all confirm that that is what happened? I have to close the line so John was heard by the audience, but certainly wasn't heard by Elder Bear or Discord. Can you, someone other than Elder Bear, who's now chanting through me, appealing to anybody but him?
Yeah,
literally, I'm saying, I'm excluding him from answering because it's him that's being discussed. Just remove him. He's just the arbiter of chaos. He's managed to successfully subvert away from Bev's stupidity when it comes to talking about lake and sea level. So this little distraction technique has got you removed for the day, Elder Bev. Sod off. You're only here to cause chaos and instigate personal attacks. You're not here to respond to 21 renditions of something you can't overcome. So get lost. Correct me.
Well, the
I just want to affirm, just for the audience's benefit. Nobody heard what John said, did they?
No.
Nope.
No. Therefore, how could he have responded to it in answer to your question, John? He does know that. No. By incessantly chanting through you, he didn't hear you, therefore doesn't have to respond to you. That's his tactic. It's fairly standard, fairly J-trig, fairly rumpusy.
Well, I was just going to correct him when he says it was just a vertical datum. Level is just a point on a vertical datum. That's not what it is. It's a point on all vertical datums. He only said part of the statement, which made it seem true, but it's not a single datum that you're talking about.
Certainly isn't lakes.
Talking about. Oh, no, it's the sea.
Who was it that said that it was lake level?
It's me.
That was Bev.
Oh no, I described it as lake level, but he was that was Bev saying that.
No, you said it's like they've got their own sea level, as in lake levels have their own equivalent of sea level. Lake level, right? Yeah, you clarified it after looking it up. But the person who brought it up in the first place and was being cheerleaded for by that guy who couldn't do anything other than cause chaos and offer personal attacks, the cheerleader for that man was Edebear. The man who said it was Bev, right?
Yeah.
Right. Bev, you were just wrong.
You would think he would know that too. And the argument that they use about there's no level because of undulations, we have no vertical either if you apply that logic to it. It's the idea of the conceptual or the idealized form of something not existing because it doesn't exist in nature. Well, no kidding. It's the conceptual idea that you're going to apply to an aspect of nature. It's like ideal gases. It's the same argument that Baltards use when they try to say that there is no ideal gas. So gas law doesn't apply. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're going to take it into describing it in any form of mathematics, you're taking it into the conceptual. If you're going to describe gas dispersion, you're going to need to describe it in a simplistic way. Therefore, you do it with an ideal gas. Oh, well, therefore, the law of nature you're describing with this ideal gas doesn't apply. Why? Because the simplistic description of how gas always behaves includes an ideal gas. Therefore, the very specific and very accurate description of how gas always behaves doesn't apply. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same argument that Bev's using against level being a horizontal plane. I don't know what this. It's absurd. It's like they're intentionally not getting it because of some reason. I don't know.
Stupidity. When you think lake level is sea level, you can only ascribe stupidity to that, right? What else can you call it?
Well, I think he was wanting to argue that the lake level is a certain height above the sea level. So how can you call it flat if these two levels are not the same elevation? I think that's how his argument, what he calls an argument, it's just an absurdity, but that's what he says.
How are you?
Hello. Good.
Good morning.
Slightly dry mouth. I normally get drinks together during the pre-show while you guys are getting sound checked and warming up, but we launched straight into a 21 rendition of datum points having single numbers and therefore requiring a completely flat plane to have a single point on the vertical datum when referencing the sea. At sea level. Horizontal. Perfectly flat with one number ascribed. That's the 25th rendition of that particular argument that had no response. We were met with a string of ad homs, personal attacks, protracted silences, and rumpusing as a result. But you feel free to check that out if you remember. Someone joined as a result of whatever I said yesterday in the live show and became a member and then left a nice comment after the fact, after watching some material. Someone else said, I haven't got my free membership anymore, how do I get that back? Well, some kind fellow in the chat had actually paid for your membership and gifted it to you. So when it ran out, it's like $2 for you to continue the membership. So if you enjoyed it, which many do, I get a lot of comments, then please join as a member. It's a couple of bucks. If you've had an expired membership recently, be aware that someone had to pay for that for you and maybe thank them for it, because they will have made you aware when you got the free membership, unless you weren't actually there at the time, which seems unlikely. Anyway, please become a member if you've not done so already. And if you are one of my members, check out the prolonged 21-22 rendition of the same Earth must be flat to measure this argument in the pre-show. Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline? Try and keep the answer lengthy so I can go and get a drink of pop.
No, my membership's running out too, Neil Cosentino. No, that's an impossibility. John, you want to expound on that? Because I'm driving.
I will spend on that, Nathan Oakley, if I can.
I said John, but go ahead, George. I mean,
okay, but
hold on, is this Johnny?
Yeah, it's Johnny. I just want to spend
Johnny,
on
listen, you're gonna have
elevation
to,
angle.
But listen, go.
Okay, that's all right. I will just spend on that. Nathan Oakley is talking about the elevation angle to the polarities, but maybe you have to point the finger on. It's maybe more simpler for people to understand. If you point out the circle of equal altitude to the GP of the polarities, we have circle of equal altitude around the Polaris, and the Polaris is in the middle of all the stars that's revolving around the Polaris, and therefore we have the middle point that we call north. That is Polaris is the middle point, and it's not moving at all, at least not so much. And if you take elevation angle everywhere you stand, you get circle of equal altitude around the GP right onto the Polaris.
Yeah.
And people have to understand that.
I totally agree.
Equal altitude.
Sometimes, Johnny, you are fantastic, and I could kiss you. Because, yeah, I couldn't express that better myself, and I couldn't reiterate the point in terms of what we should focus on better myself. Absolutely, without question, what you have just described is my primary focus moving forward in this year. Yeah, we measure Earth flat. Every measurement that ever existed that references a globe, a concave Earth, or navigation, all start with what Johnny just described. Absolutely. Yes. Shout it from the bleeding hilltops. Also, shout out to Jardo, who had the the majority or the lion's share of the pummeling in the pre-show. So I tallied off after he lined up all the dominoes as I normally do. But he's gifted me memberships, or gifted me money and gifted you memberships if you've picked one up for free. But Jardot was the one that was doing the citation digging along with, who else was involved in that? One.
I'm not sure you're right. I'm Johnny B, and there you have it.
No, I know you're Ace. Also, shout out to Bushel, but you two guys did really well in the pre-show, and you buying members for people is also fantastic, Jado. Thank you very much. But yeah, if you are maybe not watching it and you've picked up a free membership, but Trolling for Truth, Tarot, Jin DeLee, Angle of Elevation, Richard Brown, Lee, where have you gone? Lee Brown, Geo Ptolemy, Edo San, New Moon, Terry Sims, Quelrick, Bible You all picked up free memberships. No, the last two didn't. They were just comments. Up to Terry Sims. Yeah, you've all got free memberships gifted to you by Jardot. So we just gifted out 10 free memberships. Thank you very much.
No fair, because that would be impossible for me to get a free membership. I'm on my phone. But Nathan, I think Johnny wants to focus on the circles of equal altitude.
Yeah, so do I.
That's what's going to kill him.
Yeah, so do I. That's their radial value. The circle of equal elevation at the minimum inferred angle to Polaris is radius for a sphere Earth. On screen now, I paused it in the slideshow, is what Johnny's talking about. Notice how this angle to the star goes to the centre of Earth. That's because all this Earth really is a protractor wrapped around you. You're not standing in hell. You're measuring an angle off a flat plane. This extended circle here, that's the plane that you're measuring. That's the baseline, as drawn with my mouse here, extending out beyond the horizon. Now, are you measuring out to the horizon when you take these angles through hell, out through the globe surface, along an extended plane that extends imaginarily out from beyond the sphere? No! You're just measuring the Earth. Flat. You have to transpose it into hell for it to work, because these are all based on angles, including the globe's radial value. Minimum inferred elevation angle to Polaris gives you the radius value by way of a derivation of the outside edge we call the equator. What is the equator? Well, you'll know it as two things: outside edge of a sphere and the point that you can't see Polaris anymore. That's where it fades into the horizon. Fades into the horizon, what? The flat baseline that would extend from that position on the equator, as Johnny's just described, all the way to the GP of Polaris. That's the ground position below Polaris. And every inch from there to Polaris is flat. And that's the basis of the globe measurement. It's our primary focus. It's Earth being measured flat. It's my argument for telling people that they should move forward on the front foot in 2024. It is absolutely the most primary focus we should have. It's the reason we've got to have a expression of a claim that we make in a positive manner as flat earthers. It's our justification for not arguing for the sphere or debating against points we bring up for the sphere to take them apart. We can say Earth's measured flat, full stop. Well, what do you mean? Well, Polaris measurement at circle of equal elevation to Polaris at its minimum gives you your radial value if you're going to debate about a sphere Earth. Meanwhile, what's the measurement itself? As I whistle past the graveyard myself. The flat measurement off a flat baseline, as Johnny's trying to highlight. I couldn't agree more.
Me too.
So that's 1 degree in the circle around the Polaris. 60 nautical miles every degree. 1 degree. That's point number 2.
Yep, all flat. And every step up to it as you increase your latitude as the star rises with respect to the horizon. Every circle you would measure for your latitude is the same measurement. A straight line between you and the GP of the Polaris, an angle up to Polaris to give you your latitude. That's the circle of equal elevation that latitude is. Flat Earth required.
Now, here's a guy, here's a guy, Johnny, that was a captain on a boat who's done celestial navigation. How come I don't hear Bev? How come I don't hear Elder Bev? I don't hear them right now.
Oh, I actually looked it up.
Johnny's gone,
no, it turned out
you.
Just because he had a fishing rod and a lilo doesn't make him a captain. He had a rubber dinghy. That's all he really...
To be a captain of fishing boat, you have to know the skill, and before you get that, you have to go through training and so on. It's not making me a specialist, but it's so simple. It's not rocket science. Oh, rocket science is not real either. Anyways, it's not real. But I will say I have skill and know to understand simple navigation.
It's flat.
It's
The
flat.
Greeks knew that.
Right, we're going to do a video later, but what I did in lieu of I tend to find Brian tends to join the show a little bit later. Let's just start the slide reel going again. We're going to cover a little section that I trimmed out. Now, when Brian actually gets here and hopefully posts a link to the original, or I'll get it from my video because I've obviously linked his in it, we'll go to a particular section that he used an equivalent diagram to what I just had on screen in my slideshow, which is to show the angles with respect to a flat plane to the star being measured. Now that I'll leave for Brian to get his teeth into because it was him that shared this with me. So I have actually watched this 2/3 of the way through already, the video that's being referenced as opposed to this, which is my video. So I'll put a link to this first because it's mine in the chat. And then when we do cover the video in full later, when Brian toddles along, if he toddles along, if not, we'll be doing this tomorrow. Like I say, we'll cover the video in its entirety then. But for now, this is my video in the live stream chat, so I won't bring the chat up for you to visually prove that I have shared my own link to myself when you let me know that Nathan sent me to my own video. But in this case, I'm just taking a very small section of it, which I published earlier this morning, and we'll cover that now. And then, like I say, the rest of it will get covered when Brian does arrive. So let's have a listen to this.
On the left-hand side, you can see the date, longitude, and latitude.
These angles are off a flat plane.
As well as the zenith distance, both of Musita and of Alderamin.
Angles off a flat Earth are required.
Musita is labeled with a green circle on the left, and Alderamin is labeled with a blue circle on the right. As a reminder, the zenith distance is the angle between the star and the zenith directly above you.
You're going to need a flat Earth for 90.
It is equal to 90 degrees minus the altitude over the horizon.
Horizon proving a flat baseline.
So the larger the zenith distance, the closer to the horizon.
We all measure Earth flat. Earth is flat. It's required to navigate.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it. Very short video. I was going to turn it into a shorts video, but after I published it in widescreen, I just thought, sod it, I'll leave it as it is. So I just stuck it on TikTok in the TikTok format and didn't bother putting it on YouTube as shorts, even though it's less than 60 seconds. So it strictly isn't a shorts video. It's just a very short standard format video.
Now, is the illustration to go with it?
Yeah, of course I did. I dropped in half a dozen. What I didn't drop in was the one that's at 1 minute 11 on his own video. So in preparation for when Brian gets here, I'll actually bring that up now from my... So this is what I do, right? When I say to people, please put a link to my video in your video if you're to respond. Well, this is my example, right? Because this is my version of that. So he's made a video, and I'm coming along and going, right, I want to respond to you and show you how you need a flat Earth for these angles. What, minusing from 90? You mean like in a square box with like 4 90s in it? One of them's the baseline of the ground for the angle to the star, and that's a flat Earth, mate. Yeah, me going through that as a very short, snappy response. Obviously, I've been less concise because I'm on a live show now. What I've done is put a link to his video. So Astronomy live video, as in the original video, and then a comment that says, please let him know, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. This is what I'm hoping for when someone responds to us. And I say, go and let them know, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, with the hope being that they would put a link to our video like I have done to them. And in this instance, because it's literally an edited video, there's the link to his video. You click on it, and obviously it takes you to his channel. So then you can gain the YouTube love that we don't get. So this is me doing it as a edited videographer, if you will, rather than a live stream one where I stick it in my live chat. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, because most of these guys won't do a live stream to respond to one video we've made. The chances of them being able to do it on the fly, and it's not stereotyping, but for the most part, I would suggest that after 5 or 6 years of doing this, we've got it down pegged so that we're comfortable, relaxed, and it's off the top of our head that we're freshened up on every day to respond to stuff live. And much as I'm sounding like I'm blowing our own trumpet in this regard, we're a dab hand at it because we've been doing it for a long time. Most videographers aren't daily responding to material. So therefore, on the most part, it's going to be an edited video that we get as a response if we critique someone else in terms of their nonsense and flat Earth requirements for their globe proofs that they're offering that aren't. So anyway, I've got this queued up now, so I might as well bring the diagram up that I was going to suggest that we had a look at, though, because he used, as you ask about diagrams, just an absolutely brilliant diagram. Here we go. So this is how he described the angle measurement. And you're like, yeah, what have we got here then? Let's make it big. We got a flat plane represented by this white circle. You got you at the center of that circle, that's flat, and then an angle out from your zenith. Okay? Yeah? That would be vertical with respect to horizontal, obviously at a 90. And if you're going to get a zenith to the star as described in the video, although I'm kind of stealing Brian's thunder, we'll get to this. He's describing having the zenith below the star. You're like, yeah, the zenith below the star's got 90 to your position, you've got 90 to your zenith, and then there's 90 to the star along the sky. That's how this all works. All this is the protractor that's wrapped around you, if this is you measuring an angle, right? This is just a protractor. Yeah? You're standing here on a flat plane. This is a protractor. Unless you colour it in with lots of pictures of maps and stuff. Then you can pretend it's the globe. And that is precisely how they made the globe. With flat Earth elevation angle measurements described with a protractor wrapped around you, representative of a flat sky and a flat ground, and the angles of the stars as they move away, reaching closer to the horizon by measurement. That's just a protractor that they call the globe, that you're not standing in the centre of. Anyway, we'll get more of this when Brian arrives. Do we have any answers to housekeeping questions? We've been out on the tour for a couple of months now, right? We've been doing the spread the good word nonsense in the other Discord servers. Did we get any housekeeping questions out of that process? Like any evidence you can have gas pressure without a container, for example?
Well, they tried, but you heard what they said.
I just kept hearing about containers all the time. Every time that subject came up, all we got was told about containers, and now they weren't containers. And if I had more containers and transfer stuff from one container to the other in existing contained gas pressure, that's gas pressure without a container.
We are talking about the gas pressures because we have different...
Oh, Johnny, spit it out, man.
We have a different density of the gases. We have different density of the gases.
You mean you're witnessing gas dispersion, as in gas pressure gradients as gases disperse and cycle?
Well, let's put a name on it. The moron was omnivore, talking about gas pressure without containment, and all he was talking about was existing gas pressure.
Yeah, I know. They all appeal to Delta X. Let's start our example with existing gas pressure and show how we can have a differential within it. It's like, where'd you get the gas pressure from in the first place?
And then the people don't understand. We heard someone in chat, someone in Discord saying he said a can when he gave the demonstration of the soda. Yeah, when he cracks the can of soda, it's already an existing gas pressure. So people are getting duped.
Right, but the differential they're appealing to has to deal with elevation. That only happens on a flat plane.
Oh, dear.
That's a good point. When you're describing how much the gas is dispersed, therefore at lower pressure with elevation, the elevation itself is going to be with respect to sea level. Therefore, you will need a horizontal plane of reference to describe the dispersion of the gas. And the dispersion of the gas is adequately described in terms of that process by the second law of thermodynamics, a description of that which occurs always. And in said description, gas disperses into any area of volume available to it. Ergo, the sky is not a vacuum. If the sky was a vacuum, then the gas we are breathing at high pressure would fill the availability of volume and not cycle back down again, because it would have nothing to press on. So, we can't have gas pressure without containment. The sky is not a vacuum. Outer space is fake.
Ergo is about there's a lot of misunderstanding about the gases, and then I are talking about voltage. They are talking about the gases close to the surface. It's because of we have a different density of the gases. and the gas is not expanding in all directions. It's because of the gas pressure. It's because of all the gases around. That's just, they need understanding how it works. If you have a heavy dense gases, they will expand over time, but yeah, it will be close to the ground longer than lighter gases or
No.
less dense gases.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Right?
So, no,
Is I wrong about that?
no, Johnny, that's a misapprehension. So if you've got what you call a heavier gas, what are you talking about? All gases behave in the same way. So if you have a gas that's made its way up into a house, for the sake of argument, yeah, and in so doing, it, number one, puts a higher pressure in the house, number two, has to disperse through existing gas pressure. Now, predominantly, there's gaps for it to make its way through, but there's also high concentrations of other gases to collide with. So that slows down the dispersion of the gas as it tries to work its way through the gaps up, away from the ground it came from. So in all instances, without exception, it's making its way up. But people show you, oh, well, look, with our plane of reference, with 0 being the ground, it's like, where did the gas come from? -1. Because it's made its way up to the ground, and now is starting to dissipate into the existing gas pressure, upwards and outwards. What do you know? As it does so, that would be dispersed through the existing gas pressure that must be contained. It becomes less. It's dispersing. So, of course, the concentrations are going to lower. Well, that's true for every gas. Ergo, as you raise in altitude, as all gases, without exception, make their way up, they're all expanding out and away from the original concentration they first had, therefore becoming lesser as they raise in altitude and go up. The very fact that we have a gas pressure gradient, number one, defies the notion that we have a downward bias from any claimant, but furthermore proves the original assertion. The gas is dispersing in all directions, regardless of its impediment from other gases that are already in existence.
And you're not going to be able to describe that pressure gradient without Earth being a horizontal plane of reference.
Exactly. It proves a flat Earth, as all roads do, lead to a flat Earth in this example. The reference to sea level for the altitude of the dispersed gas that made its way up, defying gravity, and proving that space is fake, requires a flat plane to make the assertion. We've whistled past it for 10 years. Anything out? What did we get any evidence out of the trips that we've had so far, as we've been doing them since, what, January? Must have got some housekeeping questions asked and answered, surely. What about the molten iron core? We're talking about it more than ever, strictly speaking. When we talk about elevation angle measurements from hell, what we are talking about, if you actually colour in this blue section, or whatever colour it is, I'm colourblind, if you colour in this dome with a globe and pretend that this angle measurement is real, then the angle measurement comes from the centre of hell, where the molten iron core is claimed to be. So we are talking about it quite a lot. So surely we must have asked, is there any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of the globe Earth protractor?
Well, there was a guy talking about the Earth sonograms the other day.
He wasn't talking about Earth sonograms. Was he? Was he talking about P waves?
He was making a claim about P waves and S waves.
Earth sonogram.
Was he? He was talking about Earth sonograms. I vaguely remember actually how you said it. Oh yeah, there was a guy with a seismology claim.
Yeah, he's the one that said that they were getting an angle of return and admitted to the angle of return. He just wouldn't give with what respect it was to.
I haven't released that yet. That's why if you're not a member, you won't be familiar with what we're talking about right now. You'll have to become a member to watch it if you want to watch it immediately. but it's the last, was it Friday? Yeah, it was. It was Friday's show. In the pre-show, that's what we were arguing about. Exactly that. Is that correct? My memory's so vague.
Yes, that's correct. It was at the politics server.
Right, in the pre-show. Yeah, so you'll have to be members only. It will get released eventually, so if you're not a member, I don't put it behind a paywall so that I can bleed people dry for the truth or withhold truth or any of that kind of crap that sometimes people level out. Or I do it primarily to make money. Obviously, I've got to pay the bills. But ultimately, I do release this stuff to the public. So if you don't want to become a member and you don't want to give me a couple of bucks a month to watch these videos on the membership, you can just become a subscriber of my second channel. So the Nathan Oakley channel, so minus the 1980 and with a gap between the two names, just Nathan Oakley YouTube channel, has the Uncut and After show released, I don't know, 3 or 4, maybe 5 days, depending on if it's a weekend, after they're recorded. So there's a good chance that that particular show will come out in the next couple of days anyway, maybe on Wednesday. I think it is on Wednesday that it comes out. So in 2 or 3 days, you'll get to see it anyway. If you can't bear the thought of not having got a reference to what we've just talked about, then just check out that on my second channel and become a subscriber, and you'll just get the members only material for the most part after the fact. What else? I'm trying to summarize it. Go on.
I was just going to say that gentleman was bragging about telling a flat earther off for making a seismology statement. And he wanted to say that Earth was a globe because of seismology and the sonograms. I think that is what he called them, of Earth that they had done.
At the moment, we have the most ludicrous backlash to some of the things that we put to people, and all it ends up is in the same circumstance each time, which is a rinse and repeat of the original claim, a hand-wave dismissal of the rebuttal, perhaps sandwiched in with a personal attack. That is the archetypical response that we get when we win. It happens literally every time. Again, if you remember, you can check that out from Elderbev in the pre-show.
Thing is, though, regarding once you've established...
Hold on, John. Sorry. Go ahead, one day.
I'm just saying, once you've established and you can point out that, obtaining them elevation angles to Polaris at 0 degrees to get your equator, all using a flat Earth elevation angle measurement, and you're using the Earth for that, why then would you want to talk about the possibility of a globe Earth with a molten iron core in the centre of it?
You can't, you don't, you shouldn't. They do by taking those initial angle measurements as read and then transposing them into the centre of hell so that they can functionally operate with the equatorial plane. Then they suggest that you've got a globe surface that has parallel light rays and parallel planes with respect to the globe surface, or a tangential acquirement of a horizontal plane to measure angles running parallel to the centre of hell. That's what they have to do to keep their globe faith alive. All of which is derived from the initial flat Earth measurement as per the 2 circles of equal elevation on screen now. GP just means the position below the star. The angle, in both instances, moving to the left and to the right of the page from the centre point, are angles that you measure on a flat plane to a star. If this was Polaris, this would be a latitude. So that is to say that if you are on this latitude, you measure the GP position of Polaris along a flat plane. Let's say this is 45 degrees. Then you take a measurement of a different star, and it too has a flat plane that crosses it. This is celestial navigation, by the way. So this process can't be laid on a globe. If this was Polaris, and you had transposed it onto a globe, then you've got a central point at the top of the globe here, and circles of equal elevation working their way down as orange slices down to the equator. But that means that you can't then have a second star measured from the exact same point overlapping as an area of equal elevation, precisely as you do in navigation. It just doesn't work. It cannot work on a globe. They're angles. Even if you transpose lines of latitude onto the globe and make your position a protractor, you then can't lay another second area of equal elevation over the top of it along a flat plane because you don't have one. Meanwhile, this is actually how it's done. You just measure two circles at the GP points. The videographer we covered, Astronomy Live, said the same thing when he's describing minusing from 90. It's the exact same process. We all measure Earth flat. That's molten iron core.
Nathan, can I do a sound test? Because you were not hearing me before. I was trying to talk. Can you say if you can hear me now?
We can, but try to enunciate because it's very difficult to understand you.
Okay, but I want to ask John one question. Is that possible?
I think you said I want to speak to John.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we were talking about the gas pressure. There are a lot of misunderstanding in the community of the Baltards. They are talking about the gradients and gas gradients or whatsoever. We are talking about in our realm that we are living in, we have gas pressure. And the Nathan was talking about, he didn't really understand what we were trying to talk about. It was we have a different density of gases. And the different density of gases, if you have heavy gases, it will stay longer to the surface. It will not go in all directions because of pressure from all the gases and the
they do
and the gradient.
Yeah, they do. All gases do that without exception.
Yeah, but okay, over time, yes, but it will not be even in a different gas.
Yeah, over time, all gases suffer the effects of entropy without exception. All gases will disperse into the area of volume. If they've got other gases that impede them, then they impede them, and that time may be longer. If you restrict the availability of opening away from the container, like you put it in a really long pipe with a tiny little hole at the top, then obviously you're going to slow down the effects of entropy, but that's all you're doing. But the effects still take place in the same way. Dispersion. Up in all instances away from the ground for gases.
My question is to John, what John think about it. It was question to John.
Okay.
You want me to... Well, when you're describing the density of gas, you're having to talk about the intramolecular bonds because there are no intermolecular bonds. So you don't really get the same concept of density that you would with a solid or liquid. So it's better to say that the pressure is greater at the surface than the density. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, it is because of the pressure has to be greater on the surface. Is that right?
Yeah, the pressure is greater where the gas is produced. And then there's other things that affect the dispersion of that gas from that horizontal baseline.
Yeah.
Any more?
And then people have to understand that the gradient is also because of the temperature and all the things that came into the play because of our dynamic system. And over time it has different density, and therefore we have different density. The higher you get, do you think it will get more dense or less dense the higher you get?
Pressure,
I have heard two explanations.
Anyway, John, do you want to answer that? And then I'm going to do a shout out.
Well, the pressure will become less as you go up, but the density of the gases, because you don't really describe gases with density when you have to contain the gas to describe it with density. We don't know the overall volume, so I don't know if we can use density when we're just talking about the air outside.
Right,
We know our gases have a density levels or a density count somehow, but after more they go away and expand, then the less dense it will be, right?
You're going to describe it in that way. He's already addressed you, right? And Brian would have a field day. Yes, you're absolutely correct. It's all intrinsically linked. Temperature is also linked, but also directly proves that we must have containment to form this temperature differential. Yeah, all of which you've said is true. It's just one little ambiguous word because we obviously like to be hyper-specific here. In terms of pressure, yes, but you're using the word density and you're like, it just doesn't quite sit right. Now, is it that important? Maybe not. Beyond the PV equals nRT problem, which John also went through, if you don't know the volume, then you can't put that calculation into effect. Anyway, I want to do a shout out. So can we just draw a line under this, Johnny? I know you want to get the last word. I'll let you have it.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
I want to do a shout out, right? And I'm going to stress the same as I have done in the past when I've shouted out Bible U, because generally people hearing me shout out a channel with Bible in the name are going to assume that everything's Bible related. And it is, mostly. But that isn't necessarily why I recommend this channel so highly. In other words, this isn't necessarily just for people who want to learn about the Bible. Far from it. If you want to learn about hermeneutics and Bible literacy, you'll still get that from Bible U or Paula. But if you want to learn about primary source research, translation, etymology, just good historical standards of evidentiary research, then you'll get that in spades from Paula's channel. And that is where I get goosebumps promoting her, because that is the essence of what we do here when we're not debating at a scientific standard. We have to employ other standards. And they also have an attainable level that most reasonable people can reach if they understand what that standard is. That's where the problem lies, and that's where Paula comes in, because she deals with that head on by discussing it in terms that you may, I'll be honest, some of them may be new to you, but she's got a live chat, she does run live streams, and you can ask her questions. She's very accommodating, and she should have a bazillion subscribers, which doesn't. But the standard is as high as it gets. The subject may be the Bible, but in terms of having a book with a high historic standard of evidence to refer to, you can't do any better. So as far as I'm concerned, the fact that it's Bible focused is a double win in terms of learning about etymology, historic standards, primary source research, all the things I've just gone through that Paula does so well. So I want to properly promote her. I've done it before, and I'll continue to do it until she gets rubbish, which is unlikely. So yeah, go and check out Bible U's channel. If you haven't done so already, subscribe. You will learn something. And if you pay attention for 20 minutes and don't understand, ask. Because you'll benefit greatly from learning methodologies that you perhaps haven't been exposed to through standard education. I've learned loads from Paula, and I can't recommend her highly enough. She's got a show that's coming out later, and I want you to all be watching it in 3 hours' time. So if you're not subscribed, there's 112 people watching now in my live stream. You should all immediately now go and click that button that I've put in the live stream chat and put your subscribe next to Paula's channel. Do it now. What are you still here for? The numbers should be going down on my show. Go ahead.
Right now, Paula is ace. Outstanding. Plug, Nathan.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call her my favourite.
Well, that would be John. We all know that. Did you bring your apple today, John?
Oh, they're sacking you now, John. Oh, I like this. This is changing to John being an ass kisser, has it? I like it.
I wasn't paying attention to most of that, but yeah, I already given his apple.
Yeah, that's the way to ride this. Another complete untruth. So it's gone from me having a favourite to John being an ass kisser. Yeah, right, whatever. None of which is true.
Well, according to Dell, we're stupid because celestial navigation does not prove the Earth is flat because he could accomplish it with a plumb.
All right, what about the zenith of the star, though? If you've got a plumb, right, so if you look at the screen now, this is representing an elevation angle measurement in physical terms with the guy actually, drawing out string or whatever. Anyway, so he's got his baseline and he's got his angle up to the star. So what you're suggesting by Dell's standard is that if you drop a plumb, you can then measure the angle from the vertical to the star. Yeah, you can. But you've still got to have a baseline with 90 here between you and the ground position of the star. So yeah, you can get the angle from plumb, but you need a zenith for the star, otherwise known as a ground position. You're going to be making a box, yeah? So when we say you minus from 90, yeah, to get the circle of equal elevation, and then times by 60, that's nautical miles, that gives you distance. Minus from 90 times by 60. What does that mean? It means you're taking the angle and minusing off the other triangle. Minus from 90. That calculation gives you distance. When you times it by 60, it gives you the nautical mile distance. That's how this functionally operates. Now, the initial angle measurement, if you say, I'm getting it from plumb, what is plumb? 90 degrees to horizontal? Like perpendicular? This is their crap argument. This is, for some reason, we're getting attacked from our own side. And I'm certain I've heard Paula say this in the past. When you know you're over the target, when you're getting a lot of flack. That's precisely what we're getting. I don't know why. Shout out to Chow Young Cat for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. She gives me a thumbs up or super sticker. Thank you very much.
He also said that he was trying to get me to prove my claim of stationary Earth.
It's not a positive claim.
That's what I said. I said, I'm not making any claims anyway. And he said, well, you have extraordinary claims, then they need to be backed. I said, I'm not the one with the extraordinary claim. You are. You're saying Earth is rising up. Now show me the proof.
Let me break that down for everyone sat listening. I use my words intentionally. If you are currently sat listening to this show in a chair, not moving, and I come along and say, well, obviously you're moving upwards at 1,000 miles an hour. And you look back at me and go, no, I'm not. And I turn around to you and go, prove you're not moving up at 1,000 miles an hour. That's an extraordinary claim you're making. What? That's what he's doing. The extraordinary claim is that we're moving.
You only have one vector. You need two vectors. Something with vectors.
Who cares?
I don't know. This goes back to his throwing his bottle out the window thing.
Fine. You know, you can toss bottles out the window all day long. Meanwhile, you still aren't proving your extraordinary claim that the ground is moving. Same for ballers. You're the ones with the burden. What do they use? What, Coriolis effect? That would be to say that the motion of the stars at 15 degrees an hour is as a consequence of Earth turning beneath at 15 degrees an hour, causing a not actual deflection of the stars and anything not attached. Well, we'd notice. You know, you'd go up in a hot air balloon and Earth would turn underneath you so that you could observe that 15 degrees an hour drift that they claim as proof. We don't see it. It doesn't happen. Ergo, there's no proof. Burden fails. What's that? I've now got to prove we're stationary? No, I don't. No, that's not necessary. That's not a positive claim I have to justify in any way, shape or form. It's the default position. There's no proof needed. You and your extraordinary nonsense about us spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at an equator value measured off a flat plane with this measurement on screen isn't going to cut it. I don't have a positive claim here, Neil. Neither do you. We don't have any positive claims of movement or non-movement or anything of the sort as a flat earther. You don't need to defend it, justify it, or even debate it with them. Ask them to prove their burden. It's theirs, not ours. When they say Coriolis, debunk it. No, you don't see that effect. Nothing's drifting. If bullets drift as they're fired from snipers' rifles, so you have to track the target, that would mean Earth turned underneath the bullet, wouldn't it? Well, then Earth turns underneath aeroplanes and you if you jump up and down. That doesn't happen. Certainly doesn't happen at 1,000 miles an hour on the equator. Doesn't happen at all.
I told him he wasn't original anyway. Einstein beat him to it. He's just a copycatter.
Why are we talking about Einstein? He should not be. We should not say anything about Einstein. Now I want to talk about the photograph that was on the screen before. Can you put the screen that you had before of the man around the 90?
I can't. It's on a 2-hour reel. I've got a circle of equal altitude up, though. Is that as good?
Okay. Anyways, if the man that was looking at to the GP and on the point, also that's on the circular latitude that you see now, if you go around and the man is just take a circle around it, right in same distance in all directions, because there's a circle around it. That is a circular latitude. But on the pictures that you were showing, you show a small circle, and then he was taking a measurement out of the circle.
Yeah, I don't know why. That was taken from a navigation book. I don't know why. This one's much better. So yeah, what he's drawing out, if that's the position below the star, then it meets the circle that's actually in the diagrammatical example. So yes, it matches. Whereas in their drawn out example on the field with a guy pulling string, no, it didn't. But this does. And what you're suggesting is correct. You know, what you're measuring, if you're going to draw a box and you're going to minus from 90, the box is in existence here with the GP below on this circle. So if this is latitude again, if this star is Polaris and you're 45 degrees to Polaris, that's your latitude. That's your circle of equal elevation. If you're going to draw it out for its GP, the circle would be with you on the outside edge of it. So the circle would be like this. Hopefully you can see that on screen.
Yeah.
Yes, you
it's
can.
Like I have a string. You have a string from the GP to you, and then go around it in the same distance. Of course, it is a circle. Then it's even. That is circle of equal latitude.
Yeah.
And they can only be flat.
Yeah, and if you had another one, so if this was a circle of equal elevation for Polaris, right? So you're on the outside edge of that circle, as I just drew. Providing you treat and respect the fact Earth is flat, you can then measure another angle to where it says meridian, for the sake of argument. If that's star number 2, then you can draw out another angle with a horizontal baseline that's the same as the other star, in this case Polaris. And then you draw a circle around that. So obviously it extends out much, much further. Let's just change my screen slightly. So it'll extend out slightly further. Yeah, a much bigger circle. But their overlapping point is where you're standing when you measure these angles. That's how navigation works. But each circle is a circle of equal elevation. It must be measured with respect to a flat plane. Go on, Johnny.
Sorry, but we call that in navigation, we call that intersection to the circle, and you maybe only need 2 if you know where you are. But if you don't know nothing about where you are, then you might need 3 circles.
Right.
Or if you have an intersection to each other.
Yeah. So the point the 2 circles meet, right, is going to be an intersect point. But the 2 circles that you're drawing out, let's just make my screen. Oh, it still is. So if this is one circle, right, the second circle might will overlap in 2 different places. Yeah, it'll leave like an oval. Well, you could be at this point on the oval or this point on the oval at the intersect points, as Johnny's just described. Now, if for the sake of argument, this circle has its point over land, and you know where that land is, then you'll only need 2 circles because you can rule out that position because you're on the sea and obviously that point's land. So on the oval, you only need you only need that intersect point from the 2 circles that you've drawn out with angles to the stars, right? So you've got your angles, you've got your 2 circles. Hold on, Johnny. You've got your 2 circles, and you've got 2 intersect points, and one's over land. So you know you're there. If, on the other hand, both of those 2 points where the 2 circles you drew out overlap are both in the sea, then you could be at either of them. So then you need to draw out a 3rd star over here somewhere, again with a flat plane and thousands of miles between you and it on a flat surface. So you can draw out a 3rd circle. And that 3rd circle and the 2nd and the 1st can only intersect at one point, which becomes your position. But as Johnny's just said, just to make sure you all understand, I've agreed with him in case he goes over again, that when you do 2 circles, that might be enough. You might have enough information to know your position, but you might need 1 more.
So it is about where you are on the circle. So you know you have the circle around the GP, but you don't know where you are on the circle. Therefore, you might have to take the 3rd, or But at least you need 2 measurements
Yeah, you could be anywhere on the circle if you just drew one. Shout out to Chow Young Cat for smashing the super chat. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Romans 12:12. Thank you very much. Love it. Yeah, I'm glad you've started off the show by telling us that this should be our main focus. Because it should. It's how Earth's measured, it's how Earth's mapped, it's how the globe came to pass. What about any scientific evidence? Did we get any of that on our travels? I vaguely remember lots of stony silences when asking for scientific evidence of anything when we were out in the various servers.
Seems to be an impression out there from a lot of people that the measurement of something is scientific evidence. That's not. Maybe we should go over why it's not.
What is versus cause and effect? Go ahead.
Right, qualitative versus quantitative. You know, when you're talking about quantitative, you're describing or talking about numbers. Qualitative is how and the why. I don't know if I'm doing a good job explaining this.
That's all right, Alex.
But like you said,
I'll expand on it if you want. So if you're looking to find out why water boils, you stumble across a hot spring and go, I wonder why that boils. If your focus is not scientific and mathematical, you'll worry about how much of something in terms of what is the cause. Now, let's say for the sake of argument that you've got a vague idea of how the scientific method works and you've got to vary something to see if you can cause water that isn't boiling to boil, and you start adding in soil, and every single prediction that you've made automatically assumes that soil will be the cause of the water boiling. It's just about how much soil will make water boil, because you're not looking at the quality of the thing that you vary. You're looking at how much. Now, in this instance, the quality of the thing that will make the water boil is heat. Varying and manipulating heat will cause the water to boil. That is the cause and effect relationship ascertained through scientific variation of a presumed cause, not the qualitative amount when you don't know what causes it yet. You have to look at what will actually cause the effect, rather than how much of something. How much of something is mathematics. If it's a matter of fact, and you're running a tape measure along something, you can state that as a matter of fact. But that isn't scientific evidence. You can empirically offer up a statement when measuring something, but that isn't empirical scientific evidence, which would have been established through cause and effect reasoning and an experiment that had a qualitative inquiry to achieve a phenomenal logical outcome. Hello, Adam, or hello, Brian. Oh, it's Brian. You joined right at the end of the live stream. Should we do Astronomy live tomorrow?
No, I thought you were just doing that anyway. I couldn't join earlier. I tried joining there a while ago and I couldn't get in there.
Oh, really?
For some reason.
Yeah, it could be your internet, because I've kept an eye on the bell.
I don't know. I didn't think you were waiting for me. I thought you were just doing it anyway.
I didn't tell you. I left a comment in the video that you sent. You said you might be interested in this. I'm like, who the hell are you? How dare you assume what I might be interested? But I'll look anyway. So I looked, and I was interested. It was quite surprising you were correct. Anyway, he had quite a few flat earth proofs in his Astronomy live video, so I trimmed out a little section. For those of you 113 people that have just joined us and haven't seen this from the start of the live show, I'll play the clip I trimmed out, Brian. What I want you to respond to specifically is about 30 seconds worth, and we've got 4 minutes left on this live stream. So can I just get you to... I'll play out a section, listen to it, and just give me... I'll tell you when I stop, so don't interrupt it. I'll stop at the appropriate moment when you've got all the stuff that you need. And then just free for all respond to it. Okay, Brian? How's that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, listen up.
And actually compare this to the globe and see what the globe predicts in terms of the motions of the stars. In fact, we have a specific request here from Matthew to analyze the zenith angles of the stars in the video. He claims that they shouldn't rise according to the globe, so we're going to find out what the globe really predicts. In fact, do you remember that particular star that Taboo Conspiracy was pointing out throughout the video? He doesn't know which star that is, but thanks...
That's probably enough. I'll just go back to the screenshot of the bit. You probably aren't looking at it in the actual video, but he uses a diagrammatical example for zenith angle, and it's you on a flat plane with a dome wrapped around you, representative of the angle measuring tool known as a protractor. No globe, no celestial sphere. But that's his diagram. So go ahead,
Well,
Brian.
that is his celestial sphere. See, that's the thing about it. All they do, and this is what he tried to call gibberish when I said it to him. All they actually do ever is they're taking an angle to the celestial dome and their own celestial dome, and from a flat plane, they're taking it at equinox, which means that the equatorial plane extends out into their celestial plane, making it a much huger flat plane, and they're pre-assuming that the celestials are moving and they're stationary. And in between that, and mathematically, when they show this in orthographic view with this dome over a flat plane, right? Because that's how the celestial dome, that's how it's represented mathematically, if you know what I mean. That's how they represent it in orthographic view. Now, in reality, it's between two flat planes, that angle. But that's the only way you can view it in reality. But what they do is when they show it orthographically, and you're well aware of this, and they just place a little globe in between it. It's like they place a little hemisphere in between. It's like, where'd you get that from? You're measuring from the flat plane, and you're placing this hemisphere point in between, and the angle line is going through this hemisphere as if you're at the center of or at the center of a globe. It's going through the hemisphere and up to where it's meeting the celestial dome. That's all they're doing. It's a pure hijack of the celestial dome, and they try to do the same in celestial navigation in the more recent ones. But that's all it is. And like his thing, the globe predicts. The globe doesn't predict anything. He's referencing the celestial dome model. That's what he's referencing. There is no predictions made by some mathematical monstrosity. Do you know what I mean? Based off of flat Earth elevation angles to Polaris. That doesn't make predictions. He's crazy. He's crazy, this guy.
Got it up on screen for you now, right? So when I try and describe what Brian's just described, this is the diagram they throw up. So can I transition between these two easily? Let's just do this. It's worth the effort. This one. Okay, so here we have an angle measurement in his diagrammatical example with a dome wrapped around that I described earlier as the protractor. Yeah? Now, if this was being extended out to the star, and this was obviously remaining 90 degrees to the parallel plane at your zenith, then, as I just described, this could be the protractor you're measuring through with the lines extending out to the celestial sphere. Now, Brian's just said, well, why do they plonk a globe in the middle of that? Let's go back to the other diagram. So here we have the celestial sphere wrapped around a flat plane, and that flat plane is the origin of the angle measurement. You are taking the angle measurement from what is labelled in this diagram as centre of Earth. Now, you're not ever measuring from the centre of Earth. You're measuring a line along the ground, representative of a flat baseline, to have a point below it for the star's measurement at 90 degrees to your position and 90 degrees along the top, representing the sky. Your co-altitude, right? Minus from 90 times from 60, times by 60 gives you this box. Now, obviously, it's going to be slightly skewed because I'm drawing it out in the celestial sphere. But each of the lines that I'm drawing with my mouse has a 90. Yeah? 90 here, 90 here, 90 here, and 90 here. It requires a flat Earth to measure this. The only way they can suggest it works is putting it in the centre of the ball. Now, the ball itself could be depicted with maps on it using the lines of latitude getting bigger as you move away from Polaris. Ergo, it's moving around a curve on a ball? No, it's the protractor. When they say 1 degree for every 60 nautical miles, they twist the protractor 1 degree. In reality, it's a measurement off a flat Earth. Just go to the next diagram. This is what we used when we were referring to Dave McKeegan. So you've got a equatorial plane with the equatorial mount level to it. So you can take an angle from the flat baseline to the star that you're tracking. Again, a stone cold flat Earth measurement and requirement. The derivation thereafter comes to give you the globe belief. Here's another example. Observer for an altitude angle to a star. Azimuth along the baseline. Flat. Zenith being the position directly above you. GP being the position below the star, although it's not labelled in this diagram. Flat baseline with 90 degrees between you and it in all examples. Last one. You at the centre of hell with the angle measurements being described. Yeah? So it's just you inside a protractor. But they would infer that the protractor's got mapping on it when you're measuring the angles from the centre of it. That's how the globe has been formed. You on a flat plane, that's this section, measuring angles to stars. And if there's a star directly above your head, so for this particular verbal explanation, ignore the left-hand side of the image and only focus on the right-hand side of the image, with this being the orthographic view of your measurement. You have a star directly above your head and you at this point. Each star that you can measure from your position is going to get closer and closer and closer to the horizon representative of the flat baseline. And when the star is no longer visible, what globers call below the horizon, it just means it is beyond your measurement in this protractor-based view, with the angle measurements being the angles on the protractor, transposed by way of Polaris measurement into a globe map wrapped around the protractor at a radial value of 3959. That's how they've turned a flat Earth into a globe. About as cutting edge as we can possibly be in this show. This is about as high level as it gets. But the simple long and short of it is, if you only understand how you take an angle measurement to a star, then you understand how Earth is measured flat. And in the video from Astronomy Live, that is precisely what he describes. I thanked him in his comments for this screenshot. Thank you for the flat Earth angle measurement screenshot. I'll be using that. Thank you, Brian. Have you got anything else to add?
Yeah, he literally, a couple of things on that guy. During his video, no, just on that point there, he literally kind of started trying to come back to you and tried to tell you didn't understand. He tried to tell me, but I didn't know what you're talking about. He tried to tell me the same thing. It's like, no, I know exactly what I'm talking about. You just don't know what you're talking about. You're living within a paradigm that doesn't exist, only in your mind and in the minds of other people. You know what I mean? That's what when he was referencing aircraft, he was like, he's proof that the aircraft was flying around the globe, and it was that the stars were doing something. It's like, that's what the stars. He was pre-assuming that the stars were somehow going to a globe, that the horizon was a globe's geometric edge, and the stars were going into that, which they don't do, and that this plane was flying around the globe, holding an altitude above the globe. And I pointed out to him that how this was a load of rubbish. I pointed out to him where his problems were. Pointed out to him about how obviously doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to airplanes and the lift effect. And all he could do was call it gibberish. He said that's a lot of gibberish. Gibberish. That's what he called stone cold facts. Gibberish. That's what you're dealing with there. I mean, is the guy stupid? Or is the guy just completely brainwashed? I mean, how could you describe him, Nathan?
Brainwashed from his video. I only watched 2/3 of it, enough to get the general gist.
Well, that's his rebuttal, gibberish?
That was his rebuttal. I read his rebuttals. Yeah. Brian left a very concise 2-paragraph long comment, which I read, and then his response to it was, you just talking a load of gibberish. Anyway, if you like Brian's sentiment in this regard, it was his video link that got this discussion going, because it was him that sent me that video. A link to Brian's Logic channel is now going by in the video description right now. But what I am going to do, just out of courtesy, because I do literally suggest that our respondents do this for us, I'm going to be sharing Astronomy Live's video. So this, more importantly than Brian, as much as that sounds harsh, please let Astronomy Live know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. So I'm putting a link to the original video that I trimmed out that 40-second clip from in the live stream chat right now. So please do that as we round out this live stream and ask people to stay tuned if they're watching, excuse me, on an after show. So I burp up a bit of my cherry coke that I've just swigged down. Excuse me. So yeah, please let Astronomy Live know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. The idea being that should he respond to our critique, rather than hand wave it as he did with Brian's comments, he would put a link to our video in his YouTube channel. Now, he has a equivalent size channel to my own, so it's very appropriate that I should do it to this extent with this particular videographer, because he's in no doubt seeking more popularity on YouTube in the same way I am. So I'm sure he would appreciate that. Obviously, it's symbiotic. If I was to share my audience with him and he was to share his audience with me, that's how we both grow in a mutually...
How did he escape from the sanatorium?
Escape from the what?
Sanatorium.
I don't know if he's nuts. He's just brainwashed.
No, he and Reds got married. Astronomy dead, and then he got placed in a sanatorium for syphilis.
Are you just making this up based on ye olde experience or something? What are you talking about?
That's what I'm talking. I thought he was in the sanatorium.
Can anybody confirm this?
But I did sleep in the Holiday Inn Express last night.
Well, then you are definitely accredited to give this information out, and it's almost certainly true, as opposed to 100% made up by Quantum Eraser. 130 people watching that complete load of nonsense waffle from Kiwi. Thank you for that, Kiwi. Hello, Adam, by the way. We haven't said hello to you yet. Is he here? No, it was John. Keep seeing Adam drop in and then disappear. Anyway, hopefully the people have rejoined us after going and leaving a comment and letting Astronomy Live know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Was there anything other than Paula's show that's starting in a couple of hours that needs plugging? Have you got a show tomorrow, Kiwi?
I got a show tonight.
Oh, it's Tuesday, isn't it? Yes. Well, that's a perfect bit of timing.
Monday.
Let's see how enthusiastic this is. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to guess a 3. Go ahead, Kiwi.
It's Monday.
Already getting docked 2 points docked for his plug.
Coke waffler, you.
Another point docked. Just plug your show.
Yeah, we're going to do a treatment. I think we're going to do a treatment this evening. Let's see how it goes. On Dr. Danny Faulkner. You know, the despicable, delusional Dunning-Kruger dipshit astronomer. And that's going to be 6 o'clock U.S. Central. I don't know the other time. 12 a.m. UK and something Aussie time. I can't remember.
Yeah, keep the heat on.
About midnight Aussie time, isn't it?
No, midnight your time. 9 a.m. Aussie time. Something like that.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. Be Here or Be Sphere. I haven't got a link because he hasn't actually published one for the live stream yet. But yeah, check it out on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. Also, as suggested throughout this live show, please check out Bible Use channel if you want to get a good education in primary source research, along with a whole load of other things, not just hermeneutics and Bible study. So don't be put off by the title. If you're not necessarily looking to study the Bible, just know that you're looking at a historically well-vetted document that has the same attributes that any other document has when applying a standard of research to it. So that is the benefit for those of you non-Christians. If you are a Christian, I don't know what to say, really. You should. Why aren't you subscribed already? I mean, come on.
Yeah. She's tearing up Danny Faulkner also. She's going through Falling Flat on Your Face by Dr. Danny Faulkner. She's going through it page by page.
Awesome. There you go. Case in point. Perfect. So there you go. If you're a fan of Danny Faulkner, you might not necessarily enjoy that. But there we go. Also, I've plugged Brian's Logic, so check out Brian's Logic channel. And as I've suggested many times, be checking out Astronomy Live, letting him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. So yeah, hopefully everyone's done that already as the live stream chats have been flowing their way by.
Me and QE left comments to this guy. He brought out 2 videos. The one you covered, another one on Flat Earth a few days later. And then on Friday, he, after telling me, right, during the week in comments, or was it Wednesday night or something in comments, telling me that he was going to be correcting all of Flat Earth, right, on their globe maps on Friday night on his show, right? This guy did a show on Friday night, and I won't go into all the nonsense that was in it. Like, it was the worst Wikipedia history lesson. Oh my God. And it was a pure attempt to character assassinate. And he got so many things unbelievably wrong. Trying to character assassinate flat earthers from the past. And when he did get around to addressing any maths, what he actually said was that 8 inches per mile squared is a parabola. The very thing that people like George Netchuk, who did know, right, you know, the man is gone now, but he did know his maths, were correcting bozos like him on for years. And he's not the only person. Well,
this is a pure pretender clown. Delusions of grandeur. He's below your average skank and foul baltard. It's that bad. It's pure comedy. Now,
yeah.
I was going to go ahead and do a treatment on it, but what this crayon muncher did was take Eric Dubé's certain points that Eric Dubé made and started debunking Eric Dubé. Now, I'm not going to go through that. I'm not going to do it. So it's better you probably go through it. Follow?
Yeah, I just think it's for something's. Well, what I found strange was I did the Nathan thing. I looked at how many subscribers he has, or how many views it got. It got 49,000 views. Do you know how many comments it had? Right, 1,000 comments. There's no way that you could have 49,000 views and 1,000 comments on that.
Why
video.
not?
Be
Why,
impossible.
oh God, why'd you have to ruin everything by being some statistical conspiratard? Why not?
Well, because of the subject matter, Nathan.
Right.
Yes.
There's a lot of very, very silly and stupid people out there.
There is. Maybe
Just don't go down this
focusing too
avenue.
much
I don't want to have to pull you apart on your statistical ignorance when it comes to YouTube stats. I just don't want to do it. Please don't do this.
I'm not going to. I desist. Calm down. It just didn't make any sense to me that he can have that many views and have only that little comments. That made no sense to me, considering the amount of comments I would get on a video I make in comparison to the amount of views.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Brian. There's that we'll tear him apart on his the character and then what he says.
Us retards will get him.
No, I do. I like this guy. Flatside kind of covered him, but I don't really watch too much of Flatside now. I don't watch Flatside at all, to be honest with you. Flatside was kind of covering him, and I don't know. I think he went into Flatside's chat on Friday night and started abusing people. Like, this guy's looking. It's like I was a subscriber of his, and he had a channel that was, you know, interesting enough. You know, it'd be entertaining. You'd watch and he seemed to be going after missing person cases and different things like that. But maybe that's a stepping into this arena. Why, I don't know, and I just can't see it having a good outcome for him.
Well, I like.
Not that he deserves a good outcome now or anything, but I'm just saying it won't.
As a comparison, right, to Law Lodge specifically, look at Deception Detective, who you introduced me to about 2 months ago, and look at his growth. Why? Because he's inclusive. So what did he do when we responded to an aspect of his video? We didn't critique him for being an anti-flat earther or his globe faith or anything like that. We took sections of his video and said, this is how this applies to our subject. So what did he do? Came along and went, thanks for responding to my video. Mind if I hang around in chat for a bit? Yeah, of course. And then after he went, we didn't hear from him again. You're like, yep, seems reasonable. That's the standard. So there's a good chance a number of viewers from this, let's say it's 5 subscribers from my channel that he picked up. Well, if he does that everywhere and no one gets a negative response from him in that regard when they're just trying to help, you know, we're literally, in that instance, we're not directly trying to help, but what I'm saying is we are promoting him. We're giving out his links to his channel and saying this guy's good and giving his examples, right? Well, the same could apply to Law Lodge, but for the fact that he's become an anti-flatty. So it's like, well, now we've got to critique your nonsense. But what does that result in? It just goes downhill from there. Now he wants to attack us personally and smear us as individuals. You're like, you're just going through the same tumbling down the hill that every anti-flat earth, every flat earth has ever done. So you're not special. It's a shame. And Brian would have been a more receptive responder, a subscriber, had you have not responded in the negative fashion that he has. But this is triggering to some. It's like, why isn't deception detective triggered by us? We're talking about Earth being flat, and he doesn't give a crap, does he? He couldn't care less.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny enough. I actually left a comment on the original video that Lower Lodge made about a week and a half ago. I left a comment saying, "Listen, I know all about this topic. I'm in it with years. I could be considered a subject matter expert. If you're interested, I'm willing to come on your show and speak with you about it." Or because I only watched 2 minutes of his video and I knew I knew he'd gotten everything wrong. I said, "Or you can speak to me privately. I don't have to come on your show." Like, so I was giving him the option, and instead of taking that option, he's decided to brace against it as much as possible, be an idiot, and now he's going to get a treatment for some kind of shortcoming. And he's debating with it as well next month. And I don't care what's going on with it, just based on what this guy is putting out there. I don't know what he's at. He's trying to really jump, but with it, regardless, even if Witsit talks about ether all night, Witsit will make him look like an idiot.
Right, with that, I am going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Primary streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow.
So, like, you're a listener and you're loving it, you know? Wow, they're still going. Got to think like that. There's other people out there that were like me.
He's not thinking like a YouTube listener, an audience member.
Correct.
Like, he's ending the show when he should keep it going. Like, hey, like when there's over 100 people, you keep it going.
Stuck record.
I don't understand it. You keep looking for new people, and you end up with an audience of 115 or 120 people, and you just end the show. It's like, you keep it going. You don't end the show. You keep it going at least another extra half an hour or more. You don't
but let me tell you, Brian, what happened.
That's what EastEnders do, don't they?
I would wait for the after show because I knew that it was going to be juicy. So then you're looking forward to the Uncut and after show as a listener.
I know what I'm doing.
I'm with you, my friend. I was waiting for the after show also. So,
I know what I'm doing.
You know what I'm talking about, Johnny, right?
Yeah,
we don't think you should. We don't think you should be on the show anymore.
Who? Me?
Yeah. Once you round out, get out.
You want me to go make a cup of coffee while you take charge?
I wasn't saying I was going to take charge.
Seems to be a lot of alpha posturing at the moment. What's going on?
Hey, I'll tell you what. Astronomy Dead, the one with syphilis from the Escape from the Sanatorium, he pinned your post, by the way.
I don't know what you're talking about. I tried to subtly say that on the live show. I have no idea what you're talking about.
What do you mean you try to subtly say that on the live show, but you don't know what I'm talking about? That doesn't make any damn sense.
Okay, I do know what you're talking about. Absolutely. Syphilis and that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what syphilis is.
Yeah. Oh, God. Okay, but anyway, he pinned your comment and then responded 6 hours ago. Did you know that?
Who's he?
Astronomy Dead.
Okay, no, I didn't know that.
That's what I said. You're getting Jedi mind tricked by the sanatorium and the syphilis.
They pinned my comment, the one that was after me suggesting to Brian that we respond to his video today.
Yes.
Cool.
What's the sanatorium?
It's a place where they treat specific diseases.
Oh, man. It's difficult.
Yeah. He said, Astronomy Live says, thanks for demonstrating you still don't understand that the astronomical horizon is not the same as the apparent horizon. And you don't understand how angles relative to it are measured.
Yeah,
you know.
My bad. I didn't realize it was no Atmo day for him.
He's a clueless cloud, man. But there you go.
So you don't understand. His rebuttal is you don't understand. All right. Well, that's a wonderful
rebuttal. It's a confusion happening now. Confusion. It's no understanding at all.
Well, it's caused by syphilis.
Yeah, like Al Capone, he didn't understand anything in the end because he had syphilis. But I don't think we are there yet.
Jack Sparrow has got syphilis.
Well, that's,
you know that?
If everything ends in confusion, it's a win for them because then it's just a globe.
Wait a second. He's backhanded slighting Jack Sparrow.
No, that's if you look, he's got the mark under the one side of his face that's indicative of syphilis, and he's incredibly promiscuous, and he's nuts. He's got literally all of the telltale signs of being afflicted by syphilis.
There we go.
Thanks. Anyway, back to
anyway.
Yeah, my God. I'm actually about off to finish the live show.
Cheeky sod.
Oh my God. But what astronomy dead is what he's referring to, this astronomical horizon, is the horizontal that you will create, right, based off of your horizon. It doesn't have to be at the horizon, but you're going to use the horizon to create it. Just like you can use the horizon to create, like once you do your height of light correction, then you can claim that it's at your eye line, or you can claim it's at sea level because it's the same thing. Do you know what I mean? It works out exactly the same. So, like his astronomical horizon that he's calling it, that's like what he's basically claiming is a tangent. That's what he's claiming, and that tangent then is going to be parallel to the equatorial plane, which he'll then go to in his own head to measure these things. It's like we are fully aware of all your nonsense, astronomy life, fully aware. Just so you know, we encountered it way before we encountered you. You know.
Brian, I have to ask you before anybody else talk. I have to ask you, Brian. They want to say the bubble system is the eye level, so kind of sextant. That is the horizon. They just make it flat with the eye level, but it's not the surface. You know that argument, right?
No, because they don't have eye level anymore. If you're talking about them.
Yeah.
And they don't have any astronomical horizons, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to cover that. I forgot. There's only one horizon.
Yeah, but they are making the horizon of eye level, but it is not following the surface. So I cannot understand how they are thinking.
Stupidly.
They have to understand that they have to follow the surface. They cannot make a straight line from. Yeah, we all know what would happen if the straight line just go and you would be in the space, so-called space. I mean.
Yeah, height of light correction. That's the whole point of height of light correction, Johnny, isn't it?
That's the whole point. No, astronomical horizon is the whole point there. It doesn't exist. It's imaginary.
Yeah, it is. No, absolutely. It's like the celestial horizon, all this other stuff. It's all imaginary.
I mean, literally, it's defined as imaginary.
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid. How? But it's a growing man. Intelligent man that is trying to give an argument that's so absolutely out of any normal person with some intelligence will give. It's too much. How can I respond? How can anybody respond against so stupid things?
Well, Johnny, since you're here, I wish Elder Bear, whatever his name is, will come in and challenge you, because he's constantly challenging Nathan on celestial navigation. And I've said a few times
because
that
I have a
why don't you
mental
speak to
issue.
Johnny?
He has a mental issue. It's not normal. There's something wrong. What can I do about it? I cannot help it. He has a problem, mental problem.
When you got Johnny saying that about you, you know you got problems.
Yeah, it cannot be otherwise. But what's your point, Nathan? It's like some undertone with it.
No, that was not subtle. There was no undertone. I was implying that you're quite nuts, and by you saying he's nuts, then he's got a lot to worry about.
So are you saying I am nuts also?
Yeah, you are quite nuts. You telling me you don't think you're quite bonkers?
So that's okay. But what do you have to back it up?
Your general demeanour and behaviour is quite nutty, I'll be honest.
Listen to the last 20 shows, Johnny.
Wow.
You're a proper character,
Okay.
but you being bonkers isn't to say that I think you're insane or mentally ill. Just you're a character, and you're a nutty character. Eccentric, let's say.
Yeah, eccentric.
Very
Yeah,
talented.
you gotta live with that.
Very talented someone like that. So talented.
You just
Like,
gotta
you
live
can
with
never
it.
come
Don't
close
fight
to
it. You just gotta live with it. Don't fight it, Johnny.
He needs it in a shit sandwich.
I'm
You're a
not
lovely
fighting it.
chap.
I'm a quite
You've got a warm
quite
smile.
proud
Your sense of
fellow.
humour's fantastic. But you're also stark raving mad.
Yes.
Okay. You don't have to go into it so deeply.
If you fight it, it makes you look more like that.
I'm not fighting
you
it.
can't-
I
you
just want to
can't
know
deny
where you
being
get it
crazy.
from. That's all. I'm not fighting it.
Johnny,
Just
can't
asking
deny
where
being
you get
crazy
it.
because it just makes you look more crazy.
Johnny,
again.
were you ever in a
You
sanatorium?
know, I'm a very no.
Ask that question again.
Johnny,
Very
sanatorium?
long.
Yeah, that's rumpusing. That he did it with comedic timing. But if you don't want to hear the question, talking through the question is as good as not having the question put to you. Not that I'm suggesting it's an important question. It isn't. It's just it's inferring he's nuts again. We're belabouring the point a little bit too much.
Everything doesn't have to be so fucking important.
swearing.
Really, I know. I was there before you. I say, oh, no swearing. I was there before. So
Johnny's the only guy that swears that cracks me up when he does. Natural law, right, Johnny?
it's a natural law. I cannot do anything about it. It's just like it is.
No, you being
Well,
drunk, you said was natural law on one show. I missed it when you were saying it. I was like, have you been drinking? You were like, well, of course, it's natural law.
Yeah, it is.
I'm a
because,
sailor. But swearing goes right with the sailor and the drinking. So it all falls under the natural law of a sailor.
yeah, somehow it is. If you think about it.
You know what the hardest, Johnny, do you know what the hardest part about being a sailor is?
I have to come to the land and
Leaving the sea. Good
talk to
answer.
people.
Is that
Get
your
on the
answer?
sea,
I'll give you. You want the answer? Want the
What's
answer?
your answer? Of course, I want to hear your answer. Yes.
Yeah, the hardest part about being a sailor is telling your dad you're gay.
Oh, boy.
What? What's happening to you today? Yeah. Everything that you have been saying now so far, it's absolutely unstandable. Everybody is confusing about it today. Have you been
Are you
drinking?
unaware of the homosexual stereotype for comedic value? The sailors.
It's crazy.
But are you unaware of that stereotype? Exploited for
It
comedic
was
value.
stereotype. It was stereotype. Yeah, it was.
I think stereotype, not archetype.
What's archetype? What's the definition of archetype in your mind?
That's not, because then you'll understand how rude what I just said was.
Okay,
that's why they have that song called "In the Navy."
In the Navy.
Yep. And YMCA. And Sodom and Gomorrah. Oh, Johnny.
Just because, so let me get it straight, because village people inferred that all sailors are homosexual. That makes it so, does it?
Just because I'm a free person, I don't have to be this and that. I can be everything from A to B. That is the scale. We can talk about gradients. What is gradients? That is
what is what?
The whole spectrum.
What
the
is what?
Spectrum of the nature of people.
What is what?
Spectrum.
Cricket.
Spectrum.
Still can't hear him.
He's saying what is cricket?
You are lying. You can hear.
Let's do it 15 more times.
Okay, crickets.
What is cricket? A little animal that rubs
You're
its legs
joking
together.
around, right? You're joking around, guys. I'm talking about spectrum.
You're saying you're on the spectrum?
Everybody has some spectrums, but if you have the whole spectrum, you are something special. But people and normal people, they just have a small spectrum of their life in their life. I have the whole. I have everything.
So you're saying you've got the whole spectrum of life. Can you understand now why, when we say you're a little bit crazy, you can see why we'd say that, right?
What can I do about it? You're not a Viking. You cannot read something that was written for 1,000 years ago. I have something more than you, so you just have to ask me.
If I was to say, I experience all the colours.
You have to understand.
Like the whole.
You have to understand that I maybe more than you.
I would say you have.
Take it in.
You've got more experience. You're probably very old.
Yeah, and you're young.
Johnny, I think where English isn't your first language, I think that you're taking offense where it wasn't meant.
Yeah, Johnny's right about that.
Maybe.
Yeah, we're just hacking on you, Johnny. We love you.
No.
I know you are, and I'm fighting against it. I love it.
It's banter. It's done in the most friendly way. In other words, in England, when we take the mickey out of each other, it's because we actually like each other. In this case, it's not true.
Yeah,
obviously, we can't stand the sight here.
Same thing in Brooklyn, but if we don't break your balls, then we can't stand you.
Yeah. Brooklyn is very special. It's very raw in Brooklyn. Do you think it's more raw? No, nobody's more raw than fucking Englishmen. How they speak, the way they speak,
no swearing.
It's devastating for all the people to listen to from other countries. It's very, very rude way to speak. Like,
wait a second. So you're saying the English, they're the most rude people? Have you not heard that song by Sting, An Englishman in New York? Sounds pretty proper to me in that song.
The joke or the humor from English people is very, very raw. But okay, they have a great way to say it, but it's disgusting how rude they can be against each other. But in a fictional way, I have to say.
Especially Nathan, right?
Well, it's like with anything.
This has gone
You're allowed to be incredibly rude or incredibly racist.
Completely gone too far.
So long as you get a laugh.
Sorry about that. We were rumpishing, Nathan. This has gone, well beyond nonsensical.
Oh,
so let's get down to that. Hold up.
It's out of the show. It's not like a social beat.
Shut up, Johnny. Shut up. Let's get down to brass tacks. We got a question for you. What's ether?
No problem. Okay, shall we talk about physics and the reality and to be more serious? Okay.
What's physics?
What's ether? Ether. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm in a water that or on the ice that can broke.
Holy
I
shit!
understand
You sound
that.
like Foster Brooks.
Broke? What's wrong with that? Can you not understand English?
Okay. If this is going to get heated, Johnny, just back away from your mic a couple of inches. You can get louder. Just back away from your mic a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know I was too high.
I'm going to need a Johnny translator. I'm going to need a translator
I can tell
here.
you what. You are so fucking bad.
No swearing.
Everybody
No swearing, but Nathan speaks, Johnny. He'll translate.
You're breaking me down to pieces. You're breaking me down to pieces. I cannot do this. I cannot say that. I cannot swear. I cannot be myself anymore.
That's right.
That's what Nathan does. He emasculates his guests.
That's true. Johnny, what's ether?
Okay, listen now and don't interrupt me in the middle of the sentence.
Better make it quick and concise.
Ether is something that's give you or give any material property to propagate through. That is number one. Light is invisible.
So ether's material.
Ether's material. What's chemical formula?
Oh, are you trying to not to listen? Are you trying to be funny? I thought that we would try to be serious now.
He asked for the chemical
formula. You said it was material. Well, material has chemical formula. So what's the chemical formula?
No, I never said that. I never said anything.
Okay, let's start again. Start again. We've all got off on the wrong foot. Let's start again. What is ether?
Ether is the background that gives any material property to propagate through.
Background medium for anything to propagate through. Okay.
Yes, that's the ground. And I'm not saying that ether has any is nothing that is drifting. The material is drifting through the ether. That's the right way to say it. So ether is not doing anything really. It's just a possibility for the material to propagate through. That's my point. Number two, if you're talking about the light needs ether to propagate through. You need ether, some kind of background medium to let the light go straight away. It is going. How do you do that? That's all the question. I'm telling you that you really need something to let go through something. What is something? You cannot let something go through nothing. That's my argument that I told you before.
What's ether going through then, Johnny? What's ether going through? Ether must need something to go through as well.
Good question.
No, ether is more stationary. I heard people are saying ether drift and so on. That's just nonsense. They're hijacking the explanation of the ether. Ether is just a background media that holds everything together, almost like a glue.
But a medium. A medium is something physical. It has something some physicality to it. You can't say something is a medium and it not be physical. You can't have that. Number one. Number two, you're claiming that light needs this medium to go through. Well, what's the medium in? Based off of your logic, then ether needs something as well.
Yeah, if you really want to talk about particles, only particle.
How a wave propagates? Are you trying to imply that light's a wave with the word propagation?
Okay. The only particle that you can think of, if you are thinking about particle, then is an electric particle that's so small, it's holding it like a particle net, is holding everything through, that everything can propagate through. That has to be like that because you are able to send radio waves, microwaves, and so on in a straight lines through over long distance. you cannot do that if it's nothing there to send it through. Therefore, I'm right, and nobody can say I'm wrong, because it's logic. It is logic. And you cannot say anything against this logic.
So
I'm not hearing any logic, Johnny, to say anything against it. Sorry.
My logic is that you cannot send.
I know it.
Yeah, okay. We have a problem there. I know, because people are giving all their explanation for ether and so on, and they're hijacking ether for their own
No, Johnny, nobody's defining what ether is, and neither did you just now.
I'm just saying it's very simple. I'm not making any external claim about ether. I'm just saying in the logical way,
you are. You're claiming it exists, and you're telling us all about it.
Brian, is water a medium?
How you understand it?
Yeah,
I'm talking to Brian.
Air is a medium. You know,
air is a medium. Okay, so we know that we could go in water. We could feel the air. So my question is, if ether's a medium, why can't I detect it?
It's not a medium. It's holding the medium. There's a background, so it's not really a medium. It's just how
now it's in the
universe is all together.
Medium,
so you think everything is without any holding? You know, everything needs some kind of a container to bring it together. You always need some kind of a container, containing, maybe is a better word to say. And therefore, ether is the containing the world we find us in. That has to be something like that I am describing.
No, Johnny, we got containment, and we know that we have a mixture of gases in this containment. We have water, we have land. We don't have ether, Johnny.
How can you have this all if it is not some kind of okay, we know we have an electric universe. Everything is about electric if you really grab into it.
Do we?
So yes.
How did you validate that, Johnny?
That's what I said. Do we, Johnny?
In all measurements of what we know. Also, we have electric fusion from the ground, and the higher it go up, the more electric reaction you will get. That's known. So why are we arguing about that?
Why are we arguing? You ain't convinced me of anything yet. You're talking to me.
Yeah,
all I see in my mind is air, not ether.
Yeah,
He's hijacking air.
Yeah, okay, I understand. I listened to Nathan Oakley. He said, "Oh, there is no downward bias." Of course, we have downward bias. That's electronic. Okay, it's very, very small, but it is. And denying that is not helping anybody. It's not helping us.
Downward bias then?
It's a direction downward bias, but it's so weak they will not go over the density layer. The density layer has much more possibility. Is that right to say? It has more power to get.
Okay, Johnny, I get that. But listen to me.
The state that they want to be in. The power to be in the state that they want to be is much stronger than the downward bias. So that's
John,
my answer.
I heard you, Johnny. I heard you, but listen to what I hear. Listen to what I say. Earth is spinning, but you don't feel it because it's so big. You sound like a baller, Johnny, with this ether.
How so? How so? That's so fucking stupid. I'm just saying that we have to. We have.
You just said it's so small that you can't detect it.
Has nothing to do. I never said that. It has nothing to do with the. Yes, we have something that's spinning around. That's the star. That's the heaviest body. And the celestial body is absolutely going in a revolving state around the Polaris. There's no question about it. I have self-evidence of it. So that's just it is. So
no, I'm saying you sound like a baller.
The ether is self-evident.
Oh, how can it be a baller if I say the Earth is stationary and the celestial body is going around us? How can I be baller then? It's just stupid.
I'm making a comparison. You claiming ether, you sound like a baller claiming spinning Earth. Because they say it's so slight you'll never be able to detect
intelligent. You're not something intelligent if you talk like that. Your talking point is absolutely absurd.
Forget it. You're not getting it. Move on.
Johnny, you claim the downward bias. There is no downward bias. You claim there's a little electric charge. No, that's a lot of rubbish. There is no downward bias. There is bias. There is no electric nonsense doing anything, causing a downward anything.
You can measure it.
Sorry, Johnny?
What's the electric charge of a neutron?
You can measure it, I said.
You can't measure it, Johnny. It's a load of rubbish. It's based off of the claim of electrostatics. It's a claim that everything's electrostatic. That's the most recent version of that claim. Well, gas is electrostatics too. Gas is not going down. It's rubbish, Johnny. There is no downward bias. We don't have a downward bias. Sorry, John.
Oh, so
the
what do you think of the acceleration then?
Wait, Johnny. Wait for John to finish.
Sorry, John.
Hang on, John. Leave John finish.
No, sorry, John. I was talking over you. It was just bad timing.
Yeah, I was just going to say the claim of electrostatics is because they didn't bother to. They're trying to take pieces and parts of something without accepting the whole. Ether has nothing to do with electrostatics.
Exactly. They don't understand electrostatics. There's electrostatic bonds and gases, and there's no downward bias. Do you know what I mean? There is no downward bias.
Okay.
Full stop. But
okay, we can say that. But
hold on, Johnny.
No
Hold on a second, Brian. I want to hear the response. We did listen for quite a prolonged period to you. They're going to respond. Please don't get triggered and just chant through them.
Can I answer?
When they're done, but you're chanting through the middle of him, aren't you?
Yeah, we are maybe too.
No, you can't through the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just pointing out that there is no downward bias. This claim of a downward bias doesn't exist. It's complete nonsense. For you, Johnny, weight needs to exist. But I can prove that weight is only an apparent effect of buoyancy. So what are you going to do with that? Weight is not real.
Now we are talking.
So
now we are talking.
Bias.
Yeah. Okay. Can you answer this? Can you have some time to answer it? I hope so. My answer is we are just like the dynamic system. You cannot just pluck out one aspect or one force or whatsoever or phenomenon or whatever. You have to see it in the whole spectrum to understand what it's about. So there is many things that's happening at the same time, and everything has some differences or effect on each other aspect. What's happening in the world, in the universe that we're living in. If you're saying, "Oh, there is no downward bias," oh. Really? Yes. And then you say, yeah, there's a buoyancy. Yes, it is. It's about the different power that has more power than the other power. But we have rules there. We have absolute rules. What's the rules? Yeah, we have acceleration. You have to be able to explain what the acceleration is about. Yeah, I have wrote my own equation how you can do that. You can do that with the kinematic equation. It can be very well explained.
That's mathematics, Johnny. Johnny, show me, prove to me a downward bias right now. Demonstrate a total downward bias. Go.
Yeah. You have to. Why do you think, or if you are making something like some mechanic or whatsoever, you have to take in this acceleration effect that is real in our world, and that I'm telling you is. You don't need any gravity formula like I say. You can use kinematic.
You're claiming gravity when you're claiming a downward bias. You're claiming dielectric acceleration. You're claiming gravity. You're just giving it a different name. It's just electric gravity. It's none of it is real. There is no downward bias. Things go up. Things go up, Johnny. There's no downward bias.
Like
complete nonsense.
Don't take it so seriously. It's like more like a switch. It's so weak. It's just a switch, direction switch. But if something has more power to go up because of density, it will overcome this small downward bias.
There's no downward bias then.
This thing, no, you're saying this thing is there and it creates a downward bias, except for when things go up. That's what they said about gravity. That's what they said about gravity. Gravity makes everything go down, except for when buoyancy makes things go up. It's like, but you know what I mean. But then they try to claim that buoyancy is caused by gravity. It's like the same way as you're trying to claim there's a downward bias, but sometimes things go up. But that's only caused by the downward bias. It's like it's the same horse manure, Johnny. You're giving us the same horse manure, just labeled differently. That's all that's happening here, as what we were given by heliocentrism for years. I'm sorry, Johnny. It's complete and utter nonsense. Things always go down except for when they go up. No, they don't always go down then, Johnny, because there is no downward bias. It's complete rubbish.
John, I will give you the differences, and I hope you will listen, because I know you're intelligent, and I am actually understand it's about the reference to a flat plane, and you cannot have up and down otherwise. That they are saying with the gravity is that it's going in the middle of the Earth in the air. That's not making any sense. There is not. It's not working. You need flat plane and a reference to get downward bias in the first place. So I don't understand why you're so against it. I am absolutely right on my prick.
No, because Johnny, there's no downward
It only
vector.
appears. Yeah, it only appears for objects that are denser than the median that they're in, but it's not. It's illusionary. It's not. There's no downward bias.
Correct.
Yeah, it is downward bias if you have if everything is going to it's minus. The Earth is minus. Why do you think in any electronic equipment or whatsoever you are doing with the electric, you need Earth? You need Earth to get
Johnny,
get the flow.
The sky is not positively charged and there's negatively charged as a whole. That is complete rubbish. That's rubbish.
Well, how can there be rubbish?
Total rubbish.
Yeah, okay, tell me about it. How is that rubbish?
Total rubbish that nobody can prove because it doesn't exist. It can be proven that it's not the case. Total and it wouldn't matter if it was the case because you're begging the question. It wouldn't matter if that really, really, really was real because it wouldn't matter because you're begging the question. There is no downward bias. A downward bias means that all things go down. No, they do not.
Correct.
Tell any engineers it's just a fucking fantasy. They have to follow this, and if you're engineering something, did they?
About engineers.
If you're engineering,
engineers designing,
then you have to take in this equation.
What about scuba tanks? If you're an engineer designing a scuba tank, would you worry about only down?
Scuba tank is not big engineering. That's not about going from one place to other. It's just a tool.
Johnny, leave the ether go, Johnny.
What's ether?
You can believe in whatever you like.
No, you make us sound
Why are you
stupid.
talking
As a
about the
flat
truth?
earther
Why are you
claiming
talking about
ether,
truth, Nate?
you make us sound stupid, Johnny. You know what this does, Johnny,
Also-
when you claim ether? It takes all your celestial navigation and dumps it out the window. That's what they'll do.
I agree. With that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!